Welcome to the latest episode of the B Movie Club. I'm your host, Kevin. This week we'll be discussing the 2001 comedy classic, Zoolander, starring Ben Stiller, Owen Wilson, Jerry Stiller, Christine Taylor. The list goes on and on. For those of you joining us for the first time, each week on the B Movie Club, I try to dig through the film vault and find those guilty pleasures and forgotten films of our past that we've loved and maybe just haven't been thinking about lately. You can always send me your favorite scenes, favorite quotes, any movie suggestions you might have. You can reach me on our page on Facebook, Original B Movie Club. Give us the big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to us on YouTube, Kevin D. That's me. Click the subscribe button. It's totally free. And you can reach me on Twitter at KD9575. Don't forget to spread the word. Zoolander. In this movie, the world's greatest male fashion model, Derek Zoolander, he is it's late in his career. People feel like maybe he's, kind of going downhill. He recently lost the world's greatest male fashion model award to his young upstart rival, Hansel. But little does he know, behind the scenes, there's a plot to assassinate the progressive president of Malaysia. The reason why is because he wants to institute fair wages for their workers, which would negatively impact the fashion industry, which evidently survives upon sweatshop labor of small children working in these factories. So, in order to do this, the evil fashion mogul / assassin finder guy, I don't know, Mugatu, he attempts to brainwash Derek Zoolander, who, while very good looking, is very dim-witted as well, and henceforth very easy to brainwash, without him even knowing it. It's all through hypnotic suggestion and subliminal messages and things like that. So they go and they ostensibly kidnap Zoolander, although he thinks he's at a day spa. That's how dim-witted he is. And put this in his mind. Christine Taylor plays a reporter who gets to the bottom of this, and she tells Zoolander about it. He realizes what's going on, and they have to try to figure out a way to unbrainwash him, because at the big runway fashion show, which for some reason the Malaysian president will be attending, if he sees him and they play Relax by Frankie Goes to Hollywood, that'll trigger it's kind of a Manchurian Candidate kind of thing, if you know what I'm saying. Trigger the psychosomatic suggestion, and he will start using kung fu and kill the prime minister. I don't want to spoil everything. I don't want to give away all the intricacies of the plot. But there's a lot here, okay? There's a lot going on. I saw this movie in the theater when it first came out, like 12 years ago or whatever. And not a big fan. Didn't enjoy it all that much. I'm one of those people that can only take so much Ben Stiller, if you know what I'm saying. I typically enjoy Ben Stiller when he's in other people's movies. Like I loved There's Something About Mary, for example. I enjoyed Meet the Parents. But when you got Ben Stiller as the star, the director, the writer, the producer, maybe he wrote the score, I don't know. Then it gets to be a little too much, a little too much. And that's what we've got here in Zoolander. If you watch it, The cast is basically peopled with his family and friends. I mean, his mom and his dad are in it. His wife is in it. His sister's in it. Okay. In addition to that, he's got all of his buddies. You got Owen Wilson. You got Will Ferrell is in this. The list goes on and on. Vince Vaughn, Andy Dick has a small appearance in it. It's crazy. It's all of his friends and all of his family. And my opinion is that when you've got a Ben Stiller type, somebody who is so fully self-aware of his own humor, you need an iron fist, if you will, a director saying, why don't we pull that back a little bit? Just a little bit there, Benny. Anyway, rewatching it now for the first time in all those years, it's not bad. It's high praise. It's a lot of it's very silly, if you know what I mean. It's a lot of silly, and I feel like sometimes the jokes go a little too far. It's like Will Ferrell is in this, like I said, and he's another guy that I think you got to kind of let him do his thing, but then pull him back a little bit. Because if you have too much Will Ferrell and too much Ben Stiller, it's more silly and wacky than actually funny, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, like I said, Vince Vaughn is in this. He's got a cameo where he plays Derek Zoolander's brother, and he doesn't say anything. He does not say one word the entire movie. And I'm like, I love Vince Vaughn. He's the guy I want to see more of. Take like, let's say 30% less of these other guys. Give me a little more Vince, in my opinion. Owen Wilson was actually funny in this, in my opinion. He was also filming another movie called Behind Enemy Lines about the same time as this, where he had like a crew cut because he's supposed to be in the Air Force or the Navy or something. And so even though he's wearing his like traditional Owen Wilson locks, those were actually a wig. So there you go. This Zoolander character came from a couple of skits that Ben Stiller wrote back in the 90s based upon this character of this brainless fashion model and it appeared like in the MTV Movie Awards or Video Awards or something. And the response was so good they decided to make it a feature film. The name Zoolander comes from a couple of famous male models at that time. Mark Vanderloo, which is a Dutch name. Zoolander is just a crazy name. I don't know what that is. No one on earth is truly named Zoolanders. There you go. His is Zoolander's patented facial expression, blue steel, actually came from the face that Ben Stiller makes when he's combing his hair in the morning. I guess Christine Taylor, his wife at the time, or still I should say, would kind of bust his chops about the crazy face he would make. So that became blue steel. This movie is not only peopled with friends and family of Ben Stiller, but also has 10,000 crazy cameos, like people who are in like one scene. Billy Zane is in this. He actually wrote a scene for David Bowie without knowing he'd agree to do it. Luckily he did. Otherwise, I don't know who they would have had in there. Luke Wilson maybe playing that role. I don't know. A lot of model type people are in this. Tyson Beckford has an appearance, if you remember him. You also have like Paris Hilton, Steve Kometko, if that means anything to you. A lot of those kind of people kind of populating the entire thing. So keep your eyes open. Even though the movie's written in kind of a farcical style, like I said, it's really kind of wacky. The ins and the outs of the fashion industry are actually fairly accurate. Based upon real models' experiences and things like that. There's a scene in the movie where David Duchovny makes an appearance as a fallen hand model, where Ben Stiller asked twice, but why male models? And he actually messed up. He actually lost his place in the script or forgot his line and repeated the same line twice. At which point, Dave Duchovny ad-libbed his response to it, like, really? I just told you want me to repeat that all again? That was all ad-lib, but they liked it, so they kept it. So there you go. What else can I tell you about this movie? This movie is actually chosen as one of the 50 greatest comedies of all time by Premiere Magazine. You'll have to judge for yourself. I think it's okay. I think it's pretty good. Not anything special. I could come up with at least 50 that I enjoy more than Zoolander, but I know the people who love Zoolander really love Zoolander, so I guess just there's no accounting for taste. There you go. Ben Stiller and actually this film were sued by a famous author, Bret Easton Ellis, who wrote Less Than Zero, American Psycho, things like that. Because he'd written a book in the 90s called Glamorama, where a dim-witted model is brainwashed by a group of terrorists to perform a terrorist act. So in his mind, it was very, very similar to this book he'd written. And they actually reached a settlement, which he cannot talk about. So don't go asking Bret Easton Ellis how much he got, but he obviously got something because the plot was just similar enough. So there you go. So that's Zoolander. It currently has a 64% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. So I think that's probably about right. Again, not my favorite comedy in the world. It's wacky. There are definitely scenes that are chuckle-worthy, especially Mugatu's fashion line Derelict, which is based upon the fashion of the homeless, essentially. What's wacky about that is that it was actually based upon a real fashion line that came out in the 90s. An actual fashion designer came up with some similar, the fashion of the homeless. This is true. So I don't know if that's chuckle-worthy or just freakishly sad. I don't know. Anyway, it is still currently streaming on Netflix, so if you still haven't seen it, you could always check it out, okay? Send in your favorite scenes, favorite quotes, comments, questions you have about Zoolander. This was definitely one of those that I chose based upon other people's ideas of the movies I should do, so there you have it. Next week, we're going to be doing Scream, the horror, I guess kind of a comedy, I don't know, maybe not. It's kind of a behind-the-scenes look, kind of spoofing the whole horror genre, starring, of course, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, David Arquette, there's a list of Skeet Ulrich, the list goes on and on. So check that out. It is streaming instantly on Netflix. Send in your favorite scenes, favorite quotes, questions, and comments, and we'll definitely talk about it on the show. As you know, I end every episode with a totally out of context quote. And here it is. I think I have the black lung. That was submitted to me by Tori. Thank you very much for that. That is a good one. So there you have it. That is Zoolander. Next week we will be doing Scream. Thank you for joining us, and be well.